Welcome back to tonight's edition of Coronavirus Q&A, where we try to take the facts out of the fear and some of the fiction that's out there. Joined by emergency room doctor Robert A. Frolickstein. Thank you for joining us as you do every Thursday, doctor. And I always like to start with what you're seeing in the emergency room right now when it comes to COVID.
Thanks, Steve. We're seeing we are still seeing a few cases of COVID that are getting admitted. It's pretty steady over the last several weeks. Kind of the good news is that we're starting to see quite a few people recovering. Amazing work being done by especially our ICU teams, and people are recovering and getting to go home. So the overall number of patients in the hospital with COVID right now is I think it's less than it was this time last week.
Are you still you've been concerned that you're not seeing normal ER patients? I guess, you know, the heart attacks, the chest pains, those kind of people. Are you worried that you're still not seeing them, or has that started to get a little bit back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to maybe a little bit better, but we're still seeing about half as many patients as we normally do. Now, the percentage of those patients that are very sick is a little higher. So I'm very hopeful that people that really need to be there are coming in. And just still remember that it's safe. We have processes in place to it puts you in a safe area. If you have no symptoms suggestive of COVID, it's very safe to come in if you need to.
All right, let's get to some of these viewer questions. How are hospitals being impacted with elective surgeries being allowed? Obviously, the governor making that decision last week.
Yeah, and I think they're all, very, very happy. There were a lot of people out there that had surgeries planned, and important things, cancer surgeries and those types of things that got put on hold because of this. And now this gives those patients, those doctors in the hospital an opportunity to complete those surgeries. And again, the restrictions were put in place because really not because it was unsafe to be in the hospital, but it was to conserve our personal protective equipment, our PPE, and prevent exposure of the healthcare workers to potential patients that were asymptomatic carriers. Well, now we thankfully, I think, are not going to see the huge peaks that we've seen in New York and New Orleans, and we're going to have enough PPE, and we have processes in place to keep both the patients and the healthcare workers safe. So that allows us to safely open up and start doing some surgeries again.
There's also some concern about whether there'd be enough hospital beds, right? Is that why elective surgeries were kind of put on hold?
That's correct. That was another part of that order. And even to do these surgeries now, I think you have to look at how many beds are available and make sure that there's still going to be an adequate number of beds for any COVID patient that would need one.
All right, this next question from viewers seems to be the most popular, especially over the last few days with the reports of house cats having it and some animals in the zoo having COVID-19. What does this mean? How are they being affected? But the bigger question to me is, can you get COVID-19 from your pet?
So first of all, you're assuming then the pet has the illness. So there's no way that you're going to get it from a pet that doesn't have the illness. So I think the first step would be to keep the pet safe. But I guess in theory, yes, I think in theory you could transmit the virus from a pet to a human. I just think the odds of that are so overwhelmingly low that it's not really something that we ought to be worrying about right now.
Are you surprised that you're seeing as many pets as you are get COVID-19?
Yeah, I'm not a vet or a virologist. I know that there is some back and forth transmission of these coronaviruses, which is the big family of this virus, between animals and humans. But I don't know how common that is. So I don't know enough to be surprised, I guess, right?
Yeah. All right, next question. Yesterday, Metro Health officials spoke about how there are only 4 FDA-approved antibody tests, but there are actually 90 on the market. Only 4 of them are approved. What dangers come from taking an antibody test that's not approved by the FDA?
Well, there's no danger to the person. The danger is in inaccurate results, and they just haven't been validated. So if a test would come back positive, we don't know on many of these tests if that truly means a patient has those antibodies. And it just takes a while to validate these types of tests. And I think the FDA is working through that and validating as many as they can, as fast as they can.
Yeah, the mayor yesterday made a big deal about masks and about wearing them for your protection, but also for other people's protection. How important is it for everyone to wear masks while they're out in public and in closer proximity than you might be if you're at home or in your car or something like that?
I think it's very important. Again, the virus isn't just floating around out in the air. You're not gonna get it walking to the mailbox. But if you walk into the mailbox and there's somebody else there that has the virus while you're there, and you're within 6 feet, you might get the virus. But if that person's wearing a mask and you're wearing a mask, it greatly reduces the chances of transmission of that virus.
All right, like I like to do, I'm going to give you the final word here. What would you like our viewers to know tonight?
So again, these are tough times, and some of these things like wearing masks and some of these restrictions on our activities, I think they're going to have to last quite a long time. You know, we hear these reports and we're worried about the second wave. We don't know when that's coming, but hopefully it won't be till fall, and we'll develop some effective treatments. But these types of things are what's going to keep that second wave farther down the road and keep it, again, from being a big peak. People have done an amazing job in this community, and you know, I don't know. I'm hoping we're past our peak, but even if the peak's still a week away, our peak is not going to be anywhere near some of the places that are harder hit, and I think that's a credit to this community.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate you taking the question on pets too, even though you're not a vet. I'm going to try and come up with a botany question next week, maybe about plants or something for you, and put you on the spot there. I'm just kidding. Doctor, thank you for your time. I appreciate it every Thursday. We'll be right back.